Let me tell you a story about a white woman in her late 20s, early 30s, has a relatively successful career, lives in a big city, and has a struggling personal life. She also has a struggling romantic life, right? Struggles with romantic relationships and doesn't have many close friends, just a few, but those are people that she tends to work with. And she decides to visit family in her hometown, which is a small town, not much to do. There she meets someone that she had a fling with or had a spark with in the past who decided to stay at their hometown and continue the family business. Along the way, she ends up coming across old friends and close friends that she had fond memories with, and during this time, she ends up seeing or recognizing that there is still a spark there between her and this former or ex flame. Sounds familiar, right? Pretty much a very common theme and story told in many movies, including Lifetime movies, to the point where there are skits about this story. Hello everyone, my name is Erin James. This is a review of the movie. What's the name of the movie? Somebody I used to know. It's a song. Hey everyone, my name is Erin James, and this is a review of the movie Somebody I Used to Know, written by Franco and Alison Brie, directed by Dave Franco, stars Alison Brie, Jay Ellis, Kiersey Clemens, and Danny Pudi. Now, this movie is pretty much the synopsis I told you. It's a story that is told often, but there are some changes and twists that I really appreciated in this movie. But first, let me get into the actors, specifically the two supporting actors. So, Kiersey Clemens, she plays Cassidy, who is Sean's current partner. Sean played by Jay Ellis. Cassidy is this sweet, artistic, creative, fun personality, and is very similar to who Allie once was when she was younger. And Kiersey Clemens played her very well. I think there was a lot of chemistry, or at least realism to her character and the way her character played. And that's one thing I do appreciate about these characters, is that there was a glimpse of depth to each character, although Dave Franco and Alison Brie didn't really fully push it there, but I did appreciate it. And Kiersey Clemens, I've always appreciated her acting, especially in Dope or Sweetheart, both really good movies that I recommend you check out. And so seeing her in this, it was nice to see her. I hope she gets more opportunities. I think she is not recognized as much as she should be. And she does not get a lot of time in this movie, but when she does very well. Next, we have Danny Pudi, who plays Benny. Benny is Sean's closest friend and a close friend of Allie as well. He also decided to stay back in town. Danny Pudi, he is probably most recognized for his role as Abed in Community, and there were moments here where it kind of felt like a Community reunion, especially between him and Alison Brie. But I like that he did not play Abed here. I think a lot of people, when you play such a great role and you're recognized mostly for that role, a lot of times people see you as just that character. Here, I did not feel that with Pudi. His character, he portrayed a very real character, a very real friend, someone who is honest, kind, and loyal, someone who tries to keep the peace while supporting opposing sides, as the individuals on opposing sides, right, opposing parties, and being honest. And the reason I felt it was so real was because I have a friend like that who tries to avoid any conflict or issues or problems, but is there to be honest with you and tell you the truth, is there to be supportive of your feelings and acknowledges your feelings and recognizes that you are dealing with certain conflicts, but will point out when you are doing something wrong. And they will not turn their back on anyone or backstab anyone. And they refuse to compromise or change who they are for the sake of something or someone if it conflicts with who they want to be. So both characters were good. The chemistry felt stronger between Pudi and Brie than it did between Brie and Ellis, maybe because of Community and the years that they spent on Community. They even did their reunion during the lockdown when they did table reads over Zoom and then posted those up for everyone to see. That was really a pleasant surprise. And so it felt like that when they were goofing off together, especially when they first interact. and I felt very like Community, the characters for Community if they grew up, right? That's what it really felt like. Either way, their chemistry, Alison Brie's chemistry and Danny Pudi's chemistry, felt tighter than anyone else's. And maybe that was the point. I say that was the point because now let's go to Jay Ellis, who plays Sean. Sean and Benny, Pudi's character, their chemistry also felt stronger than Sean's connection with everyone else, including his current partner Cassidy and previous flame Allie. It felt like Benny and Sean, it felt like they really grew up together and they really connected throughout these decades of living in the same town and having so much in common. So Jay Ellis's character Sean, it felt like he was getting typecasted here because a lot of it felt very Lawrence from Insecure. He's this person who is seemingly sweet and kind, fun to be around, and that you just want to smile with, and who is the guy who is attractive because he has these qualities and because he looks handsome. Come to find out, as you get to know this person, they lack a level of self-awareness, and they are insecure with certain things, and because of these things, they are not as nice of a person as you would think they are, and they are pretty selfish and self-centered. That felt very similar to Lawrence's character in Insecure, and so a lot of times, or oftentimes, I saw that character here, and I had an issue with that. Maybe that was not intended, but that's what came across to me, and that is what came across to a lot of people in the audience that I went to the screening with. A lot of them kept yelling at the screen, which was pretty annoying, but anyway, they felt that this person was playing Lawrence. And one person even brought it up at the end of the movie that he was being typecasted as this character. Aside from that, Jay Ellis did well in this role. I did like how he portrayed this role. There was more complexity and depth to this character than Lawrence, and Jay Ellis was able to bring that across at the end of the film, and I did appreciate that. Now, Alison Brie, the partner of director and co-writer Dave Franco. This very much felt like a couple's project and trying to, move forward in this realm or this role of directing and screenwriter, and Alison Brie being probably the focus. So I can see Dave Franco going down the path of being behind the camera, where Alison Brie will continue to be in front of it. This is not a new dynamic between partners. Anyway, Alison Brie plays Allie, this successful person who lives in a big city, has a certain career that is successful, and decides to visit family back in her hometown. Kind of take a break from everything. There, she sparks this flame with Sean. Alison Brie, I did not feel anything unique to the character. I am being more critical about Alison Brie because she is the leading actor. She is the main focus of the story. So this main character, is someone we must connect with or relate to or understand in order to really allow ourselves to fall into this world and be willing to follow along in this journey. She did relatively well. Again, this story is not anything new, so it's more of how good can you play it and what uniqueness do you bring to it. The character did not feel too original, and Alison Brie did not bring anything fancy, and I would say that for most of these characters or most of these actors did not bring anything that stood out to me. But again, this character, just like the others, were good, and I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the story overall. Just like I said with all the characters, the story, nothing stood out outside of the misdirects. Now, this story is told over and over again in many films, and of course it is joked about that this is the formula for all Lifetime movies, but there are some misdirects that I did appreciate, and I think that was Alison Brie and Dave Franco recognized that and decided let's put a twist on it and let's change it, let's modernize it. I did like that, and I did appreciate that. The humor was a bit dry, but it didn't. I preferred that over being too much in your face with what you're supposed to laugh at or telling you to laugh at this. And the dramatic scenes did not feel over the top. So, great. As far as directing and cinematography, nothing, it felt standard. It felt very normal or regular. it felt that Dave Franco does not know, he does not have his own style. He does not have his own signature in his filmmaking. And so a lot of it, watching it, it just felt, someone who happens to know how to run a camera and place a camera did that, and the actors could have just acted without any specific director. I think this is an important experience to have for someone who really wants to get into directing, but maybe there is more time needed into studying film and trying to show yourself. And I think that's something to recognize. Most big directors show themselves even without being in front of the camera, and that is difficult for me to explain. But when you see something with these specific directors, J.J. Abrams, James Cameron, Quentin Tarantino, Aronofsky, right? You can spot their style, and because of that, you're able to appreciate it more, because it is not something that someone else most oftentimes can replicate. Overall, the story itself and the acting I thought was enjoyable. I was entertained, and it is one of those movies that fits in this is one of those movies that fits into this small category of movies that I think are pretty good, but that I would be fine with only watching once, if that makes sense. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've seen the film, what did you think about it? Until next time, take care of each other, check up on one another, check up on yourself, and remember, potential has no limit.